Hi, my name is Kat Dreyer. I'm a sophomore, and today I am here with
Julia Hedmark.
Linsey
and we are interviewing
Mrs. Katikos.
And she is our alumni. She graduated from Northville High School a few years past, and we're going to be asking her some questions about what her life was like as a student and also as a teacher here at NHS.
Yeah, great. So let's get into the first question. So what is your favorite memory as a student versus your favorite memory as a teacher here?
Wow. So let's see. I think my favorite memory as a student would be when I was in the 12th grade. I had Mr. Ortapan as a teacher, and it was the fall, and I kept telling him, at that point, Mr. Ortapan wore a very specific, work outfit every day, and it included, a sweater vest and a bow tie.
Very nice.
And so I really, hyped it up. I was kind of an obnoxious kid, and I was like, on Halloween, I'm going to come in dressed as Mr. Ortapan. And I was, insistent. I was like, you guys are going to, it's going to be so funny. Ortapan's going to be so funny. And I worked hard on my Ortapan outfit, and I came in on Halloween, and Ortapan was wearing ripped jeans, a gray band hoodie, and, a long black wig. And it truly took me off guard. I mean, it really was, now I know as a teacher, that's so funny. I was so shocked when I came in and he was dressed like me. It really did make me laugh really hard.
And did you dress like him?
I did. But my outfit was, so overshadowed compared to his, which was, so funny.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, dirty Converse shoes and everything.
That's crazy.
So what is a different memory as a teacher?
Let's see. I have so many really great memories as a teacher. Honestly, one that always comes to mind this time of year, COVID was super tough. It was so brutal. We got cut off in the middle of a sentence. We didn't get to see a lot of these kids graduate, or we didn't see them at the end of the year, that is. And so we had done our first car parade for the seniors that year. And I remember, Mr. Koski was like, oh, well, teachers come to it. And so we all came. And, that was the first time I'd seen some of my colleagues since, March. And it was, June. And the kids came in, and they were all, hanging out the sunroof of their cars. And it was so exciting to see the seniors. And it was all this, pent-up energy from COVID, from getting cut off. Do you know what I mean? And it was just so fun. It was, such a celebration of the kids. That was a highlight for me.
That's awesome.
Oh, you should probably introduce yourself. I'm so sorry. How long have you been working here? Where do you go to school? And what are you teaching?
Okay, so I graduated from Northville High School in 2009. I went to Michigan State University, graduated in 2013 with my English degree and teaching cert. Did a year of student teaching and then worked a couple other places, came back. Been here for 8 years, I want to say. And I teach Honors English 10 and AP Language and Composition.
Wow, awesome.
So, Ms. Katikos, what is something that has stayed the same since your time here as a student?
Chicken and mash.
Really? That's always been a favorite.
Absolutely. It was a big deal then. It's a big deal now. I distinctly remember, I think it was my Spanish class. I had a good shot at making it to a good spot in line. And I think one year I might have even had one of those classes that's in the hallway attached to the cafeteria. And for third hour, and that was, a huge semester for me, so you can imagine.
Yeah.
First in the chicken and mash line. It's always been really, really hard to get in the lunchroom on chicken and mash day.
Does it taste the same? Have you had it recently?
Okay, I feel like it changed a little bit during COVID and then came back. I think there's just something about the joy of eating mashed potatoes and gravy at school, though.
That's
I think
awesome.
it just endures.
All right, next question. What is the biggest difference that students have compared to when you graduated and then to now?
Oh my goodness, it's academic pressure. No question in my mind. If these days, what the average honors kid, let's say, takes as their schedule, if they took that schedule when I was in high school, they'd be considered a top 5%er.
Wow.
It was crazy. No one was taking these crazy AP classes. We didn't offer as many AP classes. It really was just academically really different, way less competitive. I think it made kind of an easier environment to navigate mental health within. Do you know what I mean? And I really, really see that difference. For context, I took one AP class as a high school student.
Wow, that is crazy. Another question: if there was a member or teacher that you could work with today, who would it be and why?
Like from your school. Obviously, like you graduated like more recently. Are you happy that you get to work with Mr. Ortapan now, considering all the Halloween, or is there someone that has since retired and you'd wish that you could work with them today?
I love working with Mr. Ortapan, to be clear, and I love working with Miss Couchman. When I was, as I mentioned, a very annoying student, I had Couchman quite a few times, and I used to tell her, like, one day, I think I'll get a job here and I'll come back and I'll work next door to you in the new wing. And I was, like, saying it, like, to tease her because I was, like, just such a hellion. And I love that, like, it somehow, after all these twists and turns, like, came true, and that now I work 2 doors down from Miss Couchman. I was a little wild in Mr. Creighton's class, and I always say Mr. Creighton is so kind to me for how unhinged I was when I had him for Spanish class.
So, like, what was your favorite class that you've taken?
My favorite class is a class that no longer exists. It was an honors English class marketed towards juniors, and it was called, there are 2 pieces of it. The first semester was Modern Thought and Literature, which is different from today's MTL, different book list and everything. And the second half was College Prep Composition, and it was brutal. I mean, it was such a tough class, and you just got put through the ringer, but it made me such a good writer, and I had Miss Couchman for both semesters, and I had a really close-knit community. It was like a small class of like 19 kids,
Oh, wow.
and it was so fun. I like looked forward to it every day.
That's awesome.
So I don't have you as a teacher, but you did have your students assigned. If there was a book about Norfolk High School, who should write it and what should be included in the book? And what would you like to see?
Julia, did you include that question? Was
I
that
did
you?
include that question.
That's a journal prompt we do for Things Fall Apart when we reflect on perspective and who controls narratives. I mean, I'm a firm believer that like that book belongs to like Norfolk High School students and Norfolk High School alumni. I think that even then there's like so much diversity within voices in this building. And it's easy to forget that. Even if you're an honors and AP type kid, you don't, it's crazy here, like that's how Norfolk culture's changed so much. You don't really mingle with the non-honors, like the on-level class takers nearly as much either, do you know what I mean? So I think I'd love to read a book about Norfolk High School written by students gathering like perspective from all different kinds of kids. Kids who are conventionally successful, kids who are conventionally struggling, you know, so to say, if you believe in those types of things. You know, kids who are really athletic, kids who are really into drama. I think that'd be really fun.
Are you in charge of any extracurriculars?
These days, no. I'm an assistant coach to the Unified basketball team. I used to run Quiz Bowl, and I don't anymore. And I really pared down now that I've had the twins. I've slowed down a lot. I stopped taking on new clubs.
Did you do any clubs when you were a student, by chance?
I think I did Model UN with who is now Mrs. Dent, who at the time was Miss Sacklaw. And I literally just did it because I liked Miss Dent.
That's awesome.
I couldn't point out countries on a map to you, but I was like, this lady's cool. I'll hang out after school for a little bit. I'll pay for the T-shirt.
Love that.
So our next question is, what is your favorite change that has happened in the past couple years?
I think in the past couple years, my kids feel like I like you notice trends like in fashion and just like how kids come into school. Do you know what I mean? I've noticed in the last couple years, like my kids seem comfortable. By that I mean like they dress comfortably. Like trends of clothing have really come and gone. Do you know what I mean? My friends who are my age love to ask me like, what are the girls wearing? And I'm like, kind of whatever they want. I'm like, it's like, do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of way more wide open now than I think it has been in the past. And I think it's very trendy now even to, wear like sweatpants and leggings and gym shoes. Actually, you know what? After COVID, teachers really started dressing down. That is my favorite change I've seen in the last couple of years. Pre-COVID, I was wearing like dress pants to work 4 days a week. I'd save the jeans for Friday. Now like jeans are my dress up days and I'll wear like joggers several days a week.
Oh, I was going to ask, like, are jeans like a fancy item?
Yes, now jeans are fancy. Jeans used to be like the casual thing. Now, like, those are real pants. So, like, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Another question, what do you think is one of the least favorite things that you've encountered, like, as your time teaching?
You know, it's always really tough. I know I keep going back to this. It's so tough to see my kids struggling with their mental health when I think a lot of it is preventable. I think a lot of I teach Honors English 10 and AP Lang right now, so my kids are exclusively Honors and AP kids, and they're so tough on themselves. And I think the hardest thing that like most Northville teachers would talk about is just this idea that you're like, I know that in the long run, these things don't matter. They're not going to affect you. You're going to be okay. You can be wildly successful. You know what I mean? And I'll have kids melting down because they got like, 1 B- on an honors chem test. And I'm like, man, I wish you knew that like this is so not a big deal in the long run.
I think Northville is just such a like high-rated school in Michigan that it's just difficult for kids to feel like comfortable in like their grades. They always must feel like they must achieve higher. So I think that's always stayed the same, I think.
Yeah, I think there's, a sense of competition. But like I said, when I went here, it was so different. Just the standards of what you were expected to take were so different. But that truly, like, I'll never get over that. It's hard every single year to see kids that I think are brilliant and thoughtful and kind and interesting, to see them just absolutely beat themselves up because they did poorly on a test that was designed to be hard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's so brutal. Like I have kids, even in my AP Lang class, my kids like, I only got a 70% on the multiple choice. And I'm like, that's great. Like in an AP class, it's not designed for you to get better than a 70% on multiple choice. You could actually get a perfect score on the exam getting a 70% on the multiple choice. But so many of my Northville students are like, it's ingrained in their head. Do you know what I mean? Like 95 or higher, no matter what. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that is it. Thank you for coming out today. We enjoyed having you here. It was great to ask you quite a few questions.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ms.
Have a great
Katikos.
rest
Of course.
your day.